Hey guys, my name's David Kyle and welcome to the Fit Pro Daily. This week is all about how to generate leads away from paid advertising. No more Facebook on this week's episode. We're going to look at different ways that you can generate leads for your fitness business. And we're going to start off this week with a guest interview. We're going to invite Lianne Sykes on, owner of the Lean Body Project and Quirky Frog PR Agency, to share her insight, her story on how she managed to set up this business, but also get her fitness business, Lean Body Project, into local press, the national press, and on the TV. So this is going to be one of those episodes where we want a notepad and pen, and we're going to take down as many notes as possible and start implementing the stuff that she has to say. Anyway, enough of me talking. Let's dive into this week's guest interview. Okay, we are live. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's guest interview. Today, we have Lianne Sykes, all the way from sunny Stockport. How are things, Lianne? You okay?
Good, and it is really sunny here today.
So if we don't know who Lianne is, Lianne's been on twice. Yeah. Lianne's been on a few times before, let's just say. And Lianne owns her own fitness business up in Stockport. Plus, she owns a PR consultancy, PR business. Is that what you'd call it?
Yeah, marketing and PR agency.
And she knows lots of famous people. She gets lots of famous people in newspapers as well as non-famous people like us as well. She got us in, was it 2 or 3 things you got us in last year for the Canine Fitness alone? Mm-hmm. And we didn't even have to try. So I'm guessing this is going to be quite a good interview. All we need to do is just like take a pen and paper and just listen to everything Lianne has to say. And we can replicate the success that we had last year of being in the media and the success of Lianne's being in all the media stuff that she's got all her clients. So welcome, Lianne.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Busy today, quiet today. How's this week been so far?
Yeah, busy. Every day's busy. No 2 days are really the same. There's a lot of stuff that we do, which is quite similar, but yeah, I kind of split my week up in quite a structured way. So I have content creation days, pitching days. Yeah, so we break it down into different bits.
Nice. So what we're going to do today, a little bit different to last time, is we're actually going to break it down into Lianne's story herself, how she wanted to initially get in the media, how she got into the media, and then moving into how she's found the best way to get yourself and really keep getting back into the media. Now she's been doing it for quite a few years. She knows the ins and outs. So we start every episode off with one question, though. How did you get into the fitness industry?
So I got into the fitness industry by default with my other half, Damien Coates, who you probably know, some of you. So he was a personal trainer. And when we got together, lost count how many years ago, 12, 13 years ago. He was a personal trainer doing a range of Thai boxing sessions and one-to-one PT sessions. And me being quite a little business mind, we kind of evolved that to where it is today into semi-private group personal training. I'd say over the last 5 years, we've took the business to like a new height, and I left my full-time work 5 or 6 years ago. So since then, we've taken everything really seriously. And a number of different things that we did was doing things differently with the semi-private personal training. Not really anyone in our area was doing that, but Damien thrives off training with groups as opposed to one-to-one. So that was kind of where the idea of that came from. But ultimately also offering that affordability for people to have personal training and the experience that they get by doing it in small groups as opposed to just one-to-one. And not to mention the results, people get better results training in groups. So we evolved this quite successful business. We had the marketing on point. We had clients, coming left, right, and centre to us. And what we really wanted to do was kind of take Damien and the business to the next level and start getting media features, press features, writing books, winning awards, that kind of thing. So we began a few years ago really starting to pay close attention to that and putting an active interest in that.
Nice. So before we do dive into that active interest side of it, we're all about lead generation, and you don't need to tell them who does your Facebook ads because we all know the secret to that. But how do you generate leads? Maybe let's talk about Damien's tactic with Instagram at the minute then.
Okay, yeah. So Damien's way of doing Instagram. So probably like 2 or 3 years ago when I I went out, God, I can't even believe where all the time is going when I'm thinking like how many years ago it was. So the business that I've got now, I've had for coming up to 2 years. The 2 years prior to that, I was working in PR and events and with celebrities. So I suppose it's over the last 4 years now that I've gained experience with it. And through working with individuals, not just in the fitness industry, but in a multitude of different industries who were really beginning to make a name for themselves, it was because they were being very personable on social media and they were continuing to tell their story on social media. So what we always used to do is all our business was built on success, results, our clients. And Damien never really liked talking about himself or sharing what it was that he was doing. He wanted the focus to be on his clients and not on himself. That predominantly came down to a couple of people who we saw who only ever shouted about themselves, but they did it in a way which was cringeworthy, which was kind of look how big and brilliant I am when there really wasn't. So I think that kind of put the fear in him and he retracted from doing that. However, like I said, from working with people, and I could see how people were really sharing positivity and sharing the results in a way that came from the personal trainer or came from the coach. And they were telling the story of how they did it to help their clients. So always having at the forefront of your mind how you can help your clients and the information that you're giving or the story that you're sharing, how that's going to relate to your clients. So, you know, it was a lot of backwards and forwards with me trying to tell Damien what to do and him not doing what I say and rather listening to other people. It was just a case of me just introducing Damien to a lot of the people that I was working with, showing Damien a lot of the stuff that they were doing on social media. And then bit by bit, he eventually got it to click and then he started doing it. So it's really catapulted, I'd say, over the last 18 months since Damien has started consistently sharing more about him. And in particular, since the last lockdown, the first lockdown, this time last year, Damien went on a bit of a transformation himself because he didn't want people to give up hope that the gyms were just gone, because everybody here in this group will know you don't necessarily need a gym to get the results. It comes from 95% of everything else. So through that, Damien really wanted to show what you could do. So he embarked on his transformation journey, which he has had incredible results. People are messaging me every single day about them. I did it myself. I lost 10 kilos. I'm on my way to losing up to 15 now. So it was just switching things around, but sharing that journey of how he was doing it and the flexible dieting approach. So really knuckling down on his key message has been a massive transformation over the last 12 months in terms of organic lead generation. And it's giving people something to talk about and knowing that they can have a great lifestyle and they can still get results. It's understanding how to do it. And it's not being a dickhead, like he would say, but there is a way of doing it. And it's just getting through to that audience rather than trying to get your audience to do something that they're never going to do and you getting frustrated by it.
Yeah, and that's definitely the thing. Once you can talk your prospects' language, know the pains and fears and worries they're going through, they can relate to you so much more. So Damien is talking to his audience, but Damien's audience is female predominantly, yeah? So he's obviously having to change his message that mixes and works for them. But like something you said earlier was, if you like what people are doing and you want to replicate it, don't copy it, analyze what they're doing, see what the benefits are, the way it's succeeding for them, take out the stuff that's not going so well for them, and then create your own version of it. And that's exactly obviously what you're doing now with Instagram, which is going really well.
Yeah, definitely. And like Jane said, it's really homing in on that message. And it's what I tell my clients in the PR agency side of things that I do. One of the fundamentals of part of the training that I teach people is, number one is understanding your brand identity. And with that, it's who your audience are, what it is that they want, and how it is that you can help them. And don't just make it boring by saying, we're going to give you a meal plan and we're going to give you 3 training sessions a week. Tap into that a little bit more and utilize what's involved in that meal plan. Are they going to have a chocolate on it every day? Are they going to have a drink every weekend? Or is your audience more the athlete side of things or the bodybuilding side of things that don't want that? They want that targeted and they want to be so strict, if you will. And you've got to think about the pros and cons of what it is that you do and how that can reach to your audience.
Cool. Okay. So we know your initial story. We know now what you're doing successfully now with Instagram, but let's go back to that start then. You wanted to get Damien into the news. You wanted to get him awards. You wanted to just really build a reputation away from sort of paid marketing and stuff. So how did you first dip your toes into getting in the newspaper or getting on the news and stuff, so far?
So what we did first of all is I started working with a number of different journalists, and I started to really get an understanding of what it is that they wanted to write about. Because back then I was like, Damien's great, he gets great results, he's got a great story, he's got great knowledge, he's got great expertise. But the media just didn't want to feature him at that point because we were banging on too much about the wrong message or the wrong angles. So one of the things that somebody came back to me with was, let's have a look at your weight loss transformations. So have you got anybody that has lost 5 stone or more? And at the time, most of our clients, which is quite often the occurrence for everybody else, is your clients will lose on average between 1 and 3 stone. There's not very often that you actually get those big transformations. And unfortunately, the press want those big transformations. So, I'm going to, lose, say, like 3 stone. The press aren't bothered about that because it's not significant enough to be featured. It's not a wow factor enough to be featured, even though from a personal point of view, it is. It's not from a press point of view. And once you start understanding the differences between that, that's when you can start opening up the doors as to how you can get featured. So weight loss stories, 5 stone or more, somebody particularly with like a good background or a good story themselves will make it more attractive to the media. So the first time that we got in the press about this was when a lady came through the doors, and her sister actually trained with us at the time. And we ended up making her win a free place as part of like a giveaway competition to come in. She was a mum of 2. She baked cakes for a living, and her husband works at McVitie's doing like the Jaffa cake testing or something. So I knew when she first walked through the door, and we had a sit-down consultation with her, and she was like, I just want to lose 5 stone is my first goal, and I really think I'll be happy about that. So I knew straight away that the 5 stone was actually her goal. And not only that, she baked cakes for a living, which is a lot of people's excuses. Everything under the sun. If you're there surrounded by cake every day, licking the spoon, eating it, that's going to incorporate excess calories. So straight away, that's like a contradiction. And again, that's something else that the press look for. So mum of 2 who bakes cakes for a living loses 5 stone. So I knew the minute I started speaking to her that would be the headline. Fast forward 12 months when we got those results, we submitted a press release to it. And one of the things that went in our favours with that is every single year we do a body transformation photo shoot with our clients. We don't get them to strip off and do bikinis and gym clothing in the gym. We do more of a lifestyle. So we get them to do a little black dress. So a really nice figure hugging black dress. They have professional photos taken. So you've got your high res photos, and that's another point that you need for the press. You can't, a lot of the time that they can do screenshots or, older pictures, which they will use. But for something for a transformation, they want like a really crisp, clean, high resolution image. So we had those available with Vicky when, of course, she did the body transformation shoot with us. She was one of the ones that we'd selected. So we submitted that. We got into the press with it. That was the Manchester Evening News. And then fast forward 12 months later, that same story got picked up again for the Nationals. So stories can be repurposed and repopulated if they've gone from local to national or national to local. So yeah, that went viral then. That was like September 2019. I think our sales went up by 400%. Our leads came through. Our website views went up. Our number of followers on social media went up. It had just a catalogue of events after that, which was in a positive light. So that was the first way we got into the press.
Yeah, it was quite cool actually that you knew that after you'd done your research, and again, it goes back to what we said, don't copy, analyze. You'd gone out there seeing what the type of things they were looking for. And when this opportunity came forward of this lady wanting to lose a weight, you knew this is what the press need. It needs to be a minimum of 5 stone. You knew the angle of approach. Baker loses 5 stone to change her life and her business. So these are the key things. The press isn't going to care that you've helped somebody lose 2 stone. Like you say, it needs to be that significant. Although, and we'll talk about the stuff that we got in the press for a little bit later on, it doesn't always have to be massively significant if someone's looking for specific jobs or writers, right?
Yeah, so there's somebody might be looking for something in particular. It could be there's two ways of kind of dealing with the press. One is to kind of do your outreach and your pitching to them. So if you've got a story that you want to share, you need to go ahead and find the journalists that potentially would write about it. In this climate, in this day and age, it's significantly difficult. So that's why ultimately you need the people that already have those relationships. Or if you already know of somebody who's got it, that's the better road to go down, because these journalists they're cutting their hours down from full-time to part-time. A lot of people, the workplace are being reduced. So if you're emailing people left, right and center, they're just going to come back after 3 days off work to like 2,000, 3,000 emails. So in relation to the other way of doing things is having the ability to have journalist requests come through. So you can also do this for free on Twitter. It's time consuming, but you can do it. You can search #journo requests on Twitter, and that will bring up a load of different journo requests. They'll be mixed with bloggers and journalists and various other people that are writing about things. But have a look through there and see if there's anything specific that anybody is requesting. It could be that they're actually looking for somebody who's lost 3 stone during lockdown. It could be somebody who's just had a transformation during lockdown. That doesn't necessarily mean to be body transformation. It could be a mental transformation. Has somebody overcome an addiction? Has somebody gone from not walking at all to now walking 15,000, 20,000 steps a day? Has somebody gone from having a fear of training in a gym to now doing training online with you via Zoom calls, via Facebook groups, and they have now found a newfound love for training that they have already signed and enrolled to your gym when you come back? So think about different stories that are happening right now, of anything that's happening in your business, for yourself, for your clients. Have a look on journal requests and see if there's anything specific on there that you can relate to and you can respond to directly.
Okay, yeah. So you'd done your research, you knew kind of this type of stuff that the journalists would want. The perfect client came along, she got the success, you managed to get it in the press, that then reshared and got into the national press. What was the next stage and how did you kick off even further from there?
So what we did from there is we had a series of various different campaigns that we wanted to do. So one of them was we wanted to start winning awards, because when you start submitting yourself to the press, if you have an award to back up your credibility, that helps with your press pitch. So what we did is we started entering ourselves into awards. I got headhunted by an award. They found me actually through a press release that we'd done. It was for a Women's Business Awards, the English Women's Business Awards. So I ended up winning that. I think it was like the March, April time that we went down to that award. I won that one in 2018, I think it was. And then, 2019. Then later on that year, same year, we got listed into the Talk of Manchester Awards, and that was for the best health and fitness leisure facility. So we entered into that one, we went along and we ended up winning that as well. So within a space of 12 months, we'd won 2 awards, one for the business, and then one for myself running the business. So with both of those, we was able to do press releases on them. By doing press releases about that, and this is where you'll target your local press. So the nationals aren't really going to write about, these type of awards, recognition. It's not like the Grammys, it's not like the Oscars. It's just something that you can shout out about locally, and don't ever underestimate the local side of things of what you do. So through that, we had press releases written locally about us. And then if we fast forward to this year, about 3-4 weeks ago, I got a call from BBC BBC Breakfast, and they wanted to interview me with regards to the gyms reopening. And this was the week before Boris was doing his announcement in England with regards to the roadmap to reopening. So they found me through the press release about me winning the Businesswoman of the Year award. And then they also found that the business itself had won another award, and they'd seen various different press articles. So immediately we were like a credible business, and we were a media-friendly business. So we got reached out to. They came down, they interviewed me, and then I appeared on BBC Breakfast with that interview.
That was the shock of the morning. I woke up, usually watch the 6 o'clock news every morning. There's a picture of Lianne on the screen. I was like, wow. But yeah, like you said, there is building blocks. Don't think that going to the local chronicle or the local newspaper or the local magazine is the wrong step. Like you say, the BBC found you from one place that was then backed up by this other article and this other article and this other article, so they knew they had the right person. It's like when they come to me, they found me from one place and they checked me out to come on the other place. And now every time the BBC Wales needs someone to talk about social media, because I've been on once before, they'll just keep coming back. So the building blocks, you just have to keep going on these different places. Okay, so we've kind of gone through the whole journey now. So from where you started not knowing, you've set it all up, you managed to get in your first one, you've built it up, and now you're just getting in them consistently going forwards. The one thing you mentioned was something about a press release. What is a press release?
So a press release is, a press release is what's written to be released to the press and the media. So these are what we write for our clients. So if our client is setting up something new or has got something new to share or got a story to share, we will write a press release. Now, press release is written in a different format to a blog or a newsletter or anything else. There's a certain format that you would need to follow. It's very condensed, so you don't waffle. You give like a summary about what the story is going to be. You give the bulk of it. You include a quote, a credible quote, either from the person that you're writing about or somebody else talking about that person. And then you want high resolution pictures to go with it, whether that's for you or whatever it is that you're talking about.
Yeah.
You write these to send out as pictures, or the journalist will write them on your behalf.
So if you found the journalist, if a journalist was your client or somebody was your client or you knew somebody local, you can't just say, hey, I've got a story, check this out. You kind of want to go professionally with a professionally written document or something, hand it over to them so they can actually read it properly and then present it to, I'm guessing, their editors or something like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when you're speaking with the press, a lot of the times you want to just lead with a summary of the story that you want to talk about. You don't really necessarily want to send the full press releases. It's only when they say, yeah, I'd love to write about this. Could you send something over to me? Then at that point, you want to send a press release.
Okay. So we've got some amazing clients. We've got this press release that we've kind of researched. We know how to write it and how to structure it and everything. How do you even find a journalist? How do you find these people?
So there's a number of different ways. I mean, ultimately, the best way of finding journalists is by being introduced to them or building a relationship or a rapport with them. Back in the day before lockdown, there was various different events that you could go to and just, meet people. And I always say networking is the best way to do it. Ultimately, because we haven't got the ability to do that, another way of finding them is to, again, do your research on the publications that you want to be featured in. Now, when I say you want to be featured in these aren't, I'd love to get featured in the Daily Mail. Think about why you want to be featured in the Daily Mail. Would it be better for you to be featured in Women's Health magazine? I got Damien featured in there a couple of weeks ago. He was talking alongside of a doctor and he had an expert comment in there. So that gives him more credibility, and that's his target audience is women. So women will read Women's Health magazine. So think about the different publications. Go into those, look at the articles that are being written. If you can relate to the articles, have a look at the person who's written it. Then try and find that person on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, have a look at their profiles and have a look if they have an email address or if there's somebody who is welcome to pitches or is welcome to receiving things, and just begin a relationship with them.
Yeah, and that's what we've done a number of times as well. You just go out, if you want to get in the local paper, have a look who all the editors are, follow them on social media, on Twitter, on LinkedIn and Facebook, and just try and start a natural conversation. I'm guessing if you just go straight in for the kill with these journalists, I'm guessing they get this thing all the time, they're less likely to want to communicate, whereas I'm guessing if you build the relationship slowly over a period of time, they'll get to know you and they'll be one of the first people they will come to, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the same with any relationship you're trying to build, even with the sales and the marketing side of things. It's you don't go straight in for the kill on like the first communication. So think about how you feel being on the receiving end of something. Say if somebody sent you a message and it had so much information on that you couldn't even begin to think about where to start reading this. If you don't know who this person is, you don't know why they're getting in contact with you, it might be something really great, but if it's just too much information, it's just going to get brushed aside.
Okay. So we talked about credibility then. You'd managed to get them in the papers, and then you started to want to get into awards. Not all of us are lucky enough to be headhunted like you were. How do we find awards that we can go for? Where do we look for these type of things?
Google. Just Google what awards are in your area. There's quite a lot of awards companies who do. So the English Women's Awards they do like Irish Women's Awards, Welsh Women's Awards, Scotland Women's Awards. I think that's by Oceanic Awards, I want to say. But have a look for some award companies and find their websites, have a look at what they do, have a look at what awards are coming up, have a look what categories they do it in. But you can just quick Google search and have a look what's going on. In Stockport, the Stockport Business Awards, they've been running for the last few years. Like I've mentioned, Manchester, you got the Talk of Manchester Awards. And the Talk of Manchester Awards cover everything. Apart from, they don't do the hospitality. They have a separate one. They have like the Eat, Sleep and Drink Awards specifically for hospitality. So just have a look. There's so many out there, but have a look for the credible ones and the ones that you would like to be in.
Yeah. And that's literally it. That's how we found the one that we got. Just literally typed in Cardiff Business Awards and just apply for every single one that came up.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, oh, it's £100 to enter though. I'll leave that one be then.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the, like every award we've won, we've had to enter and then we've had to pay, whether it be for a table or for tickets. And ultimately that's how, that's how they make their money as an awards business. But just put it down as a marketing tool because it's such a significant marketing tool.
Okay, so we've entered these awards. We didn't win. How could we use that to our advantage when we come into the press? We were finalists, or we were runners up, or if we didn't win and didn't have that gold medal to say that we were the best, how could we utilize the fact that we entered and we maybe got through but didn't actually win?
So it's just a case of, if what I would do is you can preempt it. So before the winners are actually announced, you have been shortlisted. So if you've been shortlisted to the final 5, do a press release about being shortlisted. If you win, great. You can do another press release. If you didn't win, then at least you've got a press release that's saying that you've been shortlisted, which is still giving you credibility.
Yeah. Because it'd be like if you go to the press and you say, yeah, you've helped somebody lose 3 stone, and then you could say you were shortlisted for this award as well. That, I guess, gives you the credibility that you did this extra thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So are you allowed to then use BBC logo or the Daily Mail logo or the Independent logo all over your social media once you've featured in it? Or do you need to be featured a number of times? Or do you need their permission? Or can you just say, I was featured on the BBC and all your stuff moving forwards?
Yeah, as long as you're using it in a legitimate way and that you have been featured, you can have a logo banner on your website as featured in or as seen in, and then just have all the logos on there.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on getting found in the media or being able to put your business in the media?
So another really good tip that I can say is write a book. So we've noticed that from working with people, those who are authors and have got a book and we can say that they're authors, they're more attractive to the media, particularly when they're looking for people to write expert quotes. So Damien is an author, he's written a book. So when we pitch for him, he's got more about him than just a personal trainer who's had great transformation stories. So you've got to think about all the different things that are making you credible. Once you begin to get into the press and you've got a couple of different features behind your belt, it's a lot more easier then to start getting things in because you are seen as press-worthy and as newsworthy. But yeah, a great way is to write a book. You can self-publish them on Amazon. You can go to book agencies who will help you do that. But we did that, I think it was like 2014 when we wrote that, perhaps, maybe around then, 2014, 2015, when we wrote the book. But that's played a huge part in helping secure a lot of expert quotes for Damien.
Yeah, like you say, once you start adding these building blocks together, you got a book, you got a successful story, you've got some sort of credibility as well. It really does make you more attractive to news or local publications to want to come on and be shown as the expert. Okay, so to finish this interview off right now then, is there any other final tips, any more nuggets like that we should be considering?
I would just say, keep your eyes open. I can't stress enough how keeping your eyes open and keeping an eye on what the news are writing about use that as your inspiration to then create content like that yourself. If you're putting loads of things out there, you can have an armload of different topics of conversation. So the one that Damien featured in last week about women's health, that was writing about the hourglass figure. So can you get an hourglass figure through training and diet and exercise? So he wrote about that. So have a look what's being written about. Have a look what's being Googled. For my skincare client, I knew that in 2020, the most the skincare product that got Googled the most was vitamin C. So we started doing a lot of features around vitamin C because we knew that people were looking for that. So have a look at within your industry, what are people looking for? Is it the flexible dieting approach that we're banging on right now? Is it keto? Do you advocate keto? Can you write about that? Can you link in with anybody else writing about that? Think about all the different things that are going on out there, and always look for a way how you could link in yourself. Write about hot topics. So if something's happened in the news, if somebody's been on this morning talking about a load of bobbins and you disagree with it, write about it. Especially if you've got a Twitter account, utilize it. A lot of people will find things on Twitter. So, always put stuff on Twitter if you can, even if it's just your opinion. And that could lead a journalist to finding you about what the things that you're saying.
Nice. So in other words, I need to get back on Twitter. I've ignored Twitter for ages now. Okay, so if people are interested to learn more about how they can get in the media, maybe somebody wants to learn how they can actually start working with you, where can they find more about you?
So you can find us, so you can get in touch with me. So anywhere really, you're on Facebook right now. So just drop me a message on Facebook and I can have a chat with you, booking a call with you, give you some tips. My business for PR is Quirky Frog. So you can find us on social media at Quirky Frog HQ. And there's some various examples of stuff that we've done on there.
Nice. Lianne, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
So that was Lianne giving her insights, her knowledge, her information on how it's possible to get your fitness business into the press. She shared the example of how she managed to get her fitness business not into local press, not just into national press, but also onto national TV too. So if you love that interview and you want to check it out again, simply press rewind, go back to start taking notes. As usual, we would love you to subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you'll always be up to date with what's working when it comes to lead generation for your fitness business. We'll leave it there for today. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Cheers.